Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm assuming it's probably good evening for most folks. I'm John Kleinbell from Catch the Moon. I see you there, Kristen. How's it going? I'm going to unmute you right now. Uh, how
There we
you doing?
go. Hi, very well. How are you?
Good, good. Nice to meet you.
You as well. Thanks for inviting me tonight.
Absolutely, it's a real pleasure. Usually, I like when we start these interviews off to just read your bio, let everybody know who you are, and then you can like correct me if there's anything that's new or anything. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Great, great, great. So, Kristen's coming to us. Kristen Summers began her career in music supervision, working alongside Julia Michaels at Format Entertainment on feature films such as The Blind Side, Sex and the City, A Single Man, A Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Soon afterwards, Kristen transitioned to music publishing as an integral member of the team at Heavy Hitters Music. Not only did she discover, sign, and shape artists for film and TV, Kristen also pitched the company's catalog to major music supervision, music editing, and television network clients. Kristen returned to the music supervision world in the spring of 2013, becoming music coordinator and later an Emmy-nominated music supervisor for the daytime talk show The Talk at leading broadcast network CBS. In 2015, Kristen also cultivated and began teaching at the Music Supervision in Film and TV course at Belmont University's West Coast location. In addition to her roles at Format Entertainment, Heavy Hitters Music, CBS, and Belmont University, Kristen has also acted as a freelance music supervisor for productions such as the popular web series turned TV show and podcast, The Social Rules, and the annual bartending award show, The Spirited Awards. She continues to help artists create music and connect them with opportunities for film and TV placements. Wow, it just seems like you do quite a bit. You teach, you work in the field. Is there anything you would say like in addition to that?
That's really the bulk of it for the music supervision side. Alongside my music brain, I also have a very math heavy brain. So I've recently pivoted my career to entertainment financial advisor. So I work with a lot of composers, editors, music supervisors, and I manage their personal finances on top of everything else.
That's
So
great.
all over the place.
That's very important as well, I would.
We don't get a lot of education in the entertainment industry, I've learned.
No, no. What's your day to day like with all these different things that you're doing?
So I currently live in Chicago. I saw a lot of shout outs for Nashville. I moved to Chicago about a year ago, but I did live in Nashville and I actually lived in LA for 8.5 years. So now my day to day is much colder. Yeah, it's about 30 degrees here, a lot of snow. And I would say my day to day is it's different every day. I spend a lot of my time now recently working with my entertainment clientele on the financial side of things. But on the weekends, I'm usually working with my artists here in Chicago. I represent a couple artists for sync placements. We're maybe possibly slowly making a publishing company. I don't know. Every day is something new. I teach Belmont every single Wednesday. My classroom is now online. It is physically located in LA, but my music supervision students now get me remotely. However, I will be in LA all next week if anybody's out there and wants to meet up. So I go back and forth between Chicago and LA to make sure I have a chance to visit with my students, my artists, my clients, all over the place. Great
Awesome.
question.
Awesome. So when you're working with your artists, you say you have a couple of artists, how many placements would you guess, like just as a freelance music supervisor slash somebody who's like doing a little bit of representation, how many shows would you guess you're pitching stuff to and landing?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's a little all over the place. Here in Chicago, I only have a couple of artists that I represent, and they have had some great landings recently. We just had one in a feature film, and I can't remember what the current title is, but it had a limited release. So that was really exciting. A lot of reality shows, things like Batgirls Club and, kind of the Buna Murray Productions, if you're familiar with that production house, a lot of their reality stuff. Um, what else have we had recently? Yeah, that's probably our bread and butter.
Great, great.
Yeah.
How do you, since you've worked in a number of different capacities, I imagine the answer to this question has changed over time, but currently, how do you receive, do people hit you up with music? How do you receive music that you're considering for pitching for projects? When you were a music supervisor, were you getting music? Kind of what was your pipeline for music? Was it more your artists, or was it kind of a mix of different things?
A mix of different things, however, very specific. So yes, of course, I like using my artists and my friends. So I say that because that's my encouragement for you all to go out and network, meet people face to face. I probably receive now, when I'm much less active than I was at one point in music supervision, I still probably receive 10 cold submissions a day. And guess how many I listen to? It's a big goose egg. Yeah. So really the way to get in is find those strong connections, bring people coffee, bring people lunch, stop by their office with a thing, find a way to show your value amongst the hundreds, thousands of other artists that are trying to break down the same door. I would say, to answer your question, yes, I like working with my artists, but there's only so much that they can do in their single bodies. So a lot of the music that I do use and trust comes from resources that I trust. So in saying that, I mean, I like working with labels, publishers, production houses, places that I have relationships that I know can send me great quality music. And I don't necessarily have to listen to 10 okay songs before I find the one that's really great.
So track record, trust, so important. You know where you need to go to get the types of music that you need if you don't have it.
Definitely. Definitely. I know it's such a dirty word sometimes and it's hard for us introverts, but networking is really, they say it's a who you know business. I think it's a who knows you business.
Yeah, relationships are so key. It's just undoubtedly, and that's it's cool. We get varying responses from the experts that we bring in. Like some folks, they're constantly getting bombarded with stuff, and they try to keep up with it. Some people, they have a very they're just like, oh, if it's not in my network. It's just like a thing where it's just, I can't trust where it's coming from. It's just, it's interesting. There's like, and there's all different kinds of doors. It sounds like, you're basically saying what so many people say is that you've got to find a way to break through. You got to find a way to like make a real connection.
Yeah, I think as I mostly spoke about the quality of music and the resources that I can trust. I think there's two pieces that go into that. One, when I was I was on a live TV show for 4 years at CBS. So I needed stuff right away. It wasn't like, oh, we can wait a couple hours and maybe that one resource will come through at something. It's who are the 5 people I know can send me something right away that's good quality. And the second piece is doesn't have any samples, doesn't have any understanding of where those rights are. I need reliable as far as licensing goes and reliable as far as music quality goes, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. You touch upon like kind of the clearance side of things. Have you had any situations where clearance has become an issue and it kind of bit you one time, or any stories you maybe want to share around that? Because we just make it very clear. You have to make sure that you have all that covered. You have to make sure you're one stop, have like all those agreements in place before you approach folks. Is there anything that you would say in terms of like how that can damage relationships, make it really hard to do business?
I have lots of stories of clearance nightmares. I'm going to share one just for fun, and then I'll answer the question. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you which one, but I was working on a film at one point, and we needed there are some artists out there that are notorious for giving the guy on the couch, whoa, love that background, person who just signed in, who are notorious for giving the guy on the couch credit, essentially the dude that just schleps their coffee and might be literally hanging out on the couch in the recording studio. They'll give them 1%, right? Well, that 1% is still required to be licensed for us to use their music. So anyway, this film I was working on, I'll tell you guys, I trust you all. We wanted to use a will.i.am song, and he had a credit, which I assume was a guy on the couch credit, owned by somebody who I'm not exaggerating, had literally moved to a desert island. So we had to send paperwork by boat to get to him. That's probably the most wild story I have for clearance. Yeah, it's out there. Um, but yeah, make sure you have, make sure you know every single sound, every single little bit that went into your song. It's so necessarily important. I would be curious to know if anybody knows about this because it's something I just learned about. One of my artists consistently likes to use a website called Splice, which I guess has, I see a lot of head nods, has some beats, and I don't know how much I trust that. And that's just how much PTSD I have from bad deals. You really have to know where every single sound came from, because even, again, just that efficiency when working with music supervisors, if there's even a hint of, well, I don't really know where this came from, or I think this site is okay with pre-cleared beats or samples or things like that, I'm probably going to pass because I don't have time to do that research. I want to make sure that the sources that are sending me great music also have done their due diligence as far as to where that music came from.
Yeah, you touched upon Splice. Splice is definitely like a controversial talk point right now in kind of the sync world. It's tricky.
I haven't done enough research. And again, playing to that same point, I don't want to put the time in it. So I'm probably going to pass on that music.
Totally understand. Yeah. Got a question for you here. How about, so there's a bunch of students in the six-figure songwriting course. They're all eager to make music that folks like you, people who represent folks, people who music supervise can use. What are the kinds of things that kind of grab your attention when you hear a song that you feel like is great for licensing?
Good question. I want to answer that right. My sort of very broad rule is when I'm listening to music, just not for a specific scene. If I'm listening to submissions a little more passively, maybe in my car, and just vetting things out, I'll sort them within my library by category and feeling. So for example, within my dance playlists, I'll have dance happy, dance sad, dance angry, dance twerk, whatever. So I have thousands of playlists. It's obscene. But you'll see those songs show up in multiple playlists. So what I like to do, I really gravitate towards songs, well, one, that I might personally like, but two, I really want to know that song is versatile. So maybe broad lyrics like, for example, if someone wrote a song with a hook, I love Patty. Who's named Patty anymore? I don't know. I love Patty, right? First off, a name in a song is not great because you're going to be literally dictating a scene or it's not going to be used at all. So on the flip side, if I can find songs with hooks that are very broad, like I love you. Okay, there's no gender. Maybe I'm talking about chocolate. Maybe I'm talking about a person or a car or an animal. I can think of, my rule is 5 scenes that I can use that hook within. So broad lyrics, universal themes, as well as, speaking about hooks, I really want something that sticks in my head. So if after I finish the song, I'm not thinking about it, it's probably not going to work for some of those more featured uses in music supervision. I want a hook where I know what the song's about. It's going to be playing in my head all day afterward. It's not too many words. It's something that I can hum and I won't stop thinking about. Does that make sense?
Those are great points. Not too complicated, easy to tell what it's about, really hooky, broad lyrics, maybe versatile. Yeah, I mean, those are all just like things that we talk about quite a bit in terms of just the things that you want to be shooting for when you're writing and you're producing songs for folks like you to consider.
I assume it's similar for Catch the Moon and for companies sort of on the flip side of things when vetting out artists for their catalogs. Absolutely.
These are the types of criteria that when we're considering songs for our library, it's the same thing. Great answer. Thanks for answering that.
Good.
I always like to get this perspective on things, Kristen. From everybody, what are some of the current trends that you're noticing in terms of the types of music that are being used a lot right now?
Yeah, I feel like this might be a weird answer, but I feel like there's been a trend that has not changed surprisingly in like 10 years. And that's, even though Black Keys might not be necessarily relevant anymore, that kind of driving rock style is still, it's going to change soon. I know it will. I feel like that driving rock is great for a lot of scenes where we want to keep things moving. Obviously, it's still very popular in sports. I would say a challenge that's sort of a hole that exists in the industry, and I don't know how to really fix it, is hip hop is very popular right now in mainstream music. It's not necessarily my favorite genre, but the problem is the hip hop that exists right now is a little slower, a little sleepier, a little mumblier, whereas scenes that have story behind them are looking for something that might drive a little bit more. And that type of music just isn't really in vogue, if you will, right now. So I feel like there's a little bit of a challenge of finding music for hip hop opportunities that's relevant, but still can move the pace of a scene along. I've also noticed that some more minimalist tracks are being used, and that really requires a really strong vocal or really strong production value. So I'm thinking of, like, for example, the Billie Eilish. I mean, there's not that I've found any great production music, and maybe Catch the Moon is the spot, but there's no real replacement for that Billie Eilish sound. And that's something that just like that cool minimalist style, I feel like, is starting to come into trend as far as syncs go.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as production value, what would you say are some of the things, because you've heard thousands and thousands of songs, music is your life, you've been doing this for so many years. What are some of the things that, like, when you hear a song for the first time, what are some of the things that might make you think production wise, like quality wise, oh, this has it, or versus like, oh, this is not really hitting the bar? I imagine it can be sometimes pretty quick for you to kind of determine whether it's hitting that level or not.
Well, here's the thing. The music that you all will create, because of just the way the sync industry is laid out right now, your competition is whoever's on the radio. Potentially, there's a rate card in a project that me or someone else might be working on where we have a set amount we can pay somebody, and it doesn't matter if it's Kimberly or Andrea or anybody else in this room. It's just the amount we can pay. So your competition becomes sort of everybody in the world who's willing to accept that amount. So if your production value isn't on par with who you think might be a superstar, it can be a problem. So I'm not totally sure how to answer that. It's such a hard concept to have to name. I do know when I hear a song, if there's something that's just pulling my ear, and it can be so subtle as there's a high pitched thing in the background, or maybe the guitar sample just is a little lower quality. I don't know if I'm able to answer that question. That's hard. I just kind of know it when I hear it, or I don't.
I think it makes total sense. It would just seem to me like there's a certain amount of ear training that you've gone through in the course of your years of listening to music, and it's probably pretty easy for you to just kind of sense it sometimes.
I can add to that. A question that I've had quite a few times from artists is, why don't I just send you the demo version so we can get it out quickly, and then if they like it, we'll come back and we'll mix it and master it. And I think that is such a misstep, unless it's a project where you as the artist are working directly with somebody on the project, not a middleman like a library or a music supervisor. Do not send demos, because like I said earlier, the efficiency, the time spent, I'm going to hear it and I'm not going to pay attention to any of the long email that you sent me. I'm going to hear the song. I'm going to give it 30 seconds maybe and say, what the heck, this song isn't done, next. I'm not going to say, oh, they told me that it's a demo, and if I want to go back, they can redo it in 48 hours. And then I have to get that approved and then come back and say, change this thing. Just have it as best quality as you can right away. Unless you're working directly with the production.
That makes sense. And would you say that if you got an email like that and you listened to the song and it wasn't really, it was a demo quality kind of thing, would that probably reduce the likelihood of you opening an email from that person again if they're sending you music?
Hmm. If I had a personal relationship with them, like really a good relationship, maybe not, but if it was, yeah, a cold submission or a first time submission from somebody, I probably would think twice before working with them again. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, first impression is really important. Um, Awesome. This has been like just the answers you're giving are just like so great. Like
Oh,
we're
good.
getting so much out of this. I know everybody in the chat's loving this, and I want to give everybody a chance to ask you some questions. I've been asking you a bunch of stuff. Just so the way we typically do this, Kristen, I'll ask a few questions. I should have said this at the top of the call, but I'll usually ask a few questions. Then we'll pop over to some of the fine folks in our chat here, and then let them ask some questions. And then towards the end, if it's cool with you, we love to like spin a few songs from our students and just kind of get your hot take on it.
Absolutely. All of it. I'm in.
Sweet. All right, great. And we'll have you out of here before the sometime around the top of the hour, if that's cool.
No rush, really. It will be written on my tombstone. Kristen, happy to help Summers. I swear.
Well, we appreciate your generous spirit with that. And, I think there's one other thing I wanted to ask. Let me see. Yeah, I guess, this is another kind of it's kind of a spin on like the whole like what grabs your ear, but it's like what about a song makes it easier to use on a TV show or an ad or something like that? Is there anything you'd say that would make it really difficult to use a song that you would otherwise want to use?
Yeah. So this might get a little bit technical, or for anyone who's a gearhead in here, then you're going to say I'm an idiot because I'm not going to know enough about it. But harmonicas and banjos, they have waveforms that are not smooth. They are choppy. And so in our human ears, and please feel free to correct me if I'm incorrect on this, you guys, from what I understand, those kinds of instruments with very jagged sounds, I like that. They really distract from dialogue. So those types of instruments within songs don't sit in the background very well. And whether people realize why that reason is or not, will be passed over for that reason. It interferes with human voice, and our waveform also is very jagged rather than smooth. So I think there could be a potential that subconsciously a music supervisor might pass on a song with instruments like that because it doesn't sit that well in the background. No to Mumford & Sons. That's funny. Did that answer the question? Sort of. I know that was a good answer.
I think it's a great answer. I was at a conference once where they were talking about a lot of times it's preferable to make bounces without like the kind of the high, like your hats and like your a snare if it's like really like high pitch for the same reason. It's like it's just not going to sit well with dialogue over the top of it. So that makes total sense. And it's probably gonna keep informing the way that I'm even making music, that's all yeah.
Oh, sorry. I've got another one. I just thought of it.
Great.
Accordion. I am not a huge fan of, and this is very much my sync brain, not my music enjoyment brain, long intros. Get rid of them. Get to the point. Show me what the meat and potatoes are. I want to know what the song is and how can I use it. Similarly, I don't want fade outs. And the reason for that is for a music editor, which I have a little bit of experience with, I want to be able to chop up that song and use it like a piece of clay. With a fade out, I lose those great pieces that you may have for to tag onto an ending of an edit that I might make. So no to fade outs and long intros.
Oh, those are also like the long intros. I talk about that quite a bit when we do our listening sessions. It's just you got to kind of get to it unless you have something that's just absolutely captivating and catches the ear like right off the bat. And yeah, fades. Like, what can you do with it if kind of a part that you want to use is kind of dictated the use of it's kind of dictated for you already.
It could be helpful too if some of these concepts, like the more music editing ideas, are a little bit lost. If you take an episode of any show that you like and watch it for the content, and then watch it for the music, and really listen to how those edits happen, and you'll see, especially for the fade out and long intro concept, they won't exist. There will be very hard stops, or you give the editor the option of fading out those ends in the way that they want to utilize it within the scene, rather than telling them how they have to use it, because that could be a quick way for the song to be passed on.
That makes so much sense. Once again, like really valuable insights. Thanks for that.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. I think that's all I have. I want to open it up for any questions that the chat have. Please, we got quite a few people in the chat here. Please limit your questions to like one question per person. But I'll go ahead and let's go with Emphatic. Let's hear from you, man. You got a question? Emphatic with the there we go. Let me see. I think I'm.
Kristen, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah.
Really appreciate your time and giving us this time and your expertise. Amazing. On behalf of the whole class, thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
And hey, great responses. Look, I had a few questions, but you've answered some already, which I really appreciate. I'd like to know, what are the typical lead times you work with for different types of work that you do? And if you could just outline those for me, just like, for the different categories that you work in, what the lead times are, it'd be really great just to understand what you're dealing with and how quickly you have to operate.
It's quite different from project to project. So I mentioned the live show that was my largest project I was on for 4 years. And that was a daily, we were on air, whether I had the music or not, at 11 a.m. So if I had a request from my producer at 9 a.m., I've got 2 hours to get it together. If I had the request 2 weeks in advance, I've got 2 weeks. So live TV, of course, is just such an animal in itself. But that's definitely the shorter end of the spectrum. I also worked on a film called, oh my gosh, it was Alec Baldwin and Meryl Streep. I can't remember, it doesn't matter. Worked on a film, and the writer of the film really wanted to be involved in the music process, wanted to be involved in everything. I think we went through 4 music supervisors on that project because we were not delivering what she wanted. She was very particular. And we submitted probably 150 songs per scene. It's complicated. Thank you, Patrice. That's what it was.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And so that one, we had a lot longer lead time. We spent months finding the perfect song for a scene. So I would say on films, you have a lot longer runway. TV, a lot shorter. TV can be, like I said, anything from a few hours. So for me, it was really valuable, like I said, to have those resources where I knew I could have quick turnaround. Some TV, might be a couple days, maybe a couple weeks. TV is very short. Video games and ads, that's not fair. Those aren't the same. Ads, very fast. They want the music. Also, ads are really going for very expensive. So if you want to pitch to advertisements, your production quality's got to be top notch because they can afford those superstar artists. That's my just a little side tip. But anyway, to answer your question, yeah, please.
Just leading on from that, then, when you have to get something so quickly, do you need people to have pre-clearance done already? So if I have something pre-cleared, bang, it's there, and you could just go with it. Or whoever the agency is, pre-clearing it could be hugely advantageous for you.
Sometimes. Again, it depends on the project and my budget. I had quite a few that I could think of. Like I remember having a Jason Derulo request at 9 a.m. when we were on live at 11. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's going to have 9,000 samples in it. And it did. And we got it cleared. We had a little bit of a process where we had sort of what was the legal jargon? It was a indemnification license. So essentially saying we're going to do our best to get it cleared from the label and the publishers, but it may not be fully licensed by the time I'm live. However, I'm not going to be responsible. Anyway, long answers to your questions, but the answer is it depends on every single project. TV, much shorter, movies, a lot longer.
Great answers. Really interesting because 150 per scene, my God, it's like huge workload. You don't want to be wasting time. So thank you so much. Great answers. Thank you.
Oh, good.
Thanks, man. Great questions. Adam, you're up next. What's up?
Thanks, John. Hi, Kristen. How are you?
Great.
Just one real quick question about just what you said about like driving rock. I'm like a Canadian artist, kind of in your neck of the woods. I'm in Ontario, so.
All right.
Yeah. So when you're saying they use a lot of driving rock for like driving scenes or whatever, do they use a lot of like more classic rock, or do you mean modern rock? What could you elaborate on that?
There's a great scene that I'm going to recommend everybody go watch. It's just masterful. There's a film called Baby Driver, and the scene is, I think it's in the very beginning of the film. I'm not totally positive on that. But anyway, he's playing a song called Bell Bottoms. And it's great. And it's really got exactly the driving beat that I'm describing. So go find, actually, I can send it to you guys over at Catch the Moon if you want to disperse it out. I have it saved on my computer because it's awesome. It's incredible.
Yeah, great. Sounds good.
Hopefully that would be helpful.
For sure.
What else?
Oh, it looks like he muted himself, I think. So I think he's saying thank you there and thumbs up. I saw. Good question.
That's what I do with my students. Thumbs up is yes. Thumbs down is I can't hear you.
Anthony, you're up next. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Hi.
Thanks for coming in and doing this. We really appreciate it.
Oh.
Have you had any dealings with doing like cover songs? Because I've noticed, especially with commercials, that's really popular. For somebody to cover a song, and it seems to be like a trend that's going on right now. Have you had any dealings with that? And as far as getting it approved or whatever, or how that works?
I have, but not in the way you're asking. I've done a lot of, referencing again that live show I worked on, The Talk, we had a lot of opportunities where we needed sort of karaoke tracks, and we would have someone sing over it, or we would recreate something. But what you're talking about, so yes, but no. Yes, in that sense, but in the cool sense, like trailers and stuff, that is very popular, right? Because I'll tell you why. We have something familiar, so the audience is already engaged. Like, oh, I like that song. I remember, oh my God, that's a thing from the 80s that I used to love. So you've already bought in a yes from the audience, and then you've put a really cool twist on it. Yeah, so those dark covers are very popular. I want to tag onto that idea with that is an excellent way to find exposure. And it's exactly for that reason. You're already getting a yes from the person that's listening to it because they know the song, but you're putting your own creative spin. So they might say, oh, I really like this person's style, because you've already won them over with the songwriting. It's a little bit of a cheat way to approach getting exposure. But it is a great strategy to reach people that you might not usually be able to meet.
Cool.
Did that answer your question, sort of?
It did. So, what's one way of getting that approved where it's kind of a one-stop situation, where it's not kind of a nightmare to clear?
Ooh, I don't know if there's a great way to resolve that. I don't think it can really ever be a one-stop, because you're always going to have that publishing composition clearance that belongs to somebody else. So automatically with your master, your recording in conjunction with somebody else's publishing rights and composition, the only way to really make that easier is to do your research beforehand and find songs that you'd like to cover that maybe only have one writer. And if you all aren't familiar, you can go on ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, GMR, and really dig into who wrote the song, who published it, etc. I think that's really, I don't think you can make a one-stop cover per se, but you can alleviate the pain by just finding a one-writer song.
Okay, can you get a pre-clearance like from the publisher, or can you contact the publisher and get a clearance from them?
As far as sync licensing goes?
Right, yeah.
John, I don't think so. I don't think that I mean, Catch the Moon could probably speak to this better than I could, but no,
Yeah,
I don't think so. Unfortunately.
Yeah, those are all great questions, Anthony. I've just my own personal experience with it is sometimes you can get a hold of the publishers, and sometimes they'll talk to you and tell you that they're pitching stuff. In fact, we have a relationship with one publisher right now that's actually actively seeking covers for certain to pitch. And the assumption is like if they rep the publishing that they'd be willing to clear it if they're actually like soliciting covers for something. So, but yeah, I don't really have a ton of experience with that. We don't do a ton of like outreach to specific publishers. It's more like what we hear all the time is like, that you want to kind of be doing your homework. What songs are getting used on different TV shows? Because if it's getting used on a show already, chances are it's clearable. And that's, I think it's part of what you were saying, Kristen.
That's a great point. What's being used. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. Thanks for the questions, Anthony. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, really good.
Let's see. Let's see if we can get to a couple more questions here, and then we jump into listening to some songs. Beverly, let's see.
Yes.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, great. How are you guys?
Doing great.
Kristen, thanks so much for being with us today. I have a couple of quick questions. Do you ever need like 15, 30, and 45-second spots just to listen, or do you want just instrumental tracks? If we send you the stems, do you want?
I would recommend when you are reaching out to libraries or supervisors or whoever you're in contact with, sending them both a downloadable and streamable version of the instrumental and vocal version, and including in the text below or outside of wherever your deliverable is, TV mixes, stems, and 30, 45-minute cuts available. I don't think you need to send the whole shebang. Don't want to give somebody more work than they have to. That's a great question. What's a TV mix? I'll answer that in a minute. Give them the instrumental and the vocal and let them know that there are other versions available.
Okay. Do you ever, how do you feel about genre mixes?
Genre mixes as in the same song, but in different styles?
Maybe the production and the vocals, or they have just a little bit different flavor, like a little bit of country pop or I don't know, reggae country or whatever.
Yeah, reggae country, sure. Why not? Hey, I think you can invent it, Beverly.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I think if it's here's my theory, there's a place for every song. Now, I don't want to give everybody hope here, but I don't see why there wouldn't be a country reggae opportunity out there. So I'm not opposed to it. Look at the way that, for example, country has evolved over the last 40 years. It's so different now. Old Town Road, right? We've got 9 Inch Nails, Billy Ray Cyrus, and Lil Nas X all in the same mix. Sure. I don't think that there's a reason not to create it. I think there will be not many opportunities for it, but if you're good at it and you think it's great, do it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Sure.
My daughter's coming to Chicago next weekend, so I'll tell her to pack a lot of heavy clothes.
Yes, please do. There was a question in the chat about a TV mix, which I think is fair. A TV mix is essentially mostly instrumental, and then the hook within the chorus will be vocal. So think of like all those really annoying pharmaceutical commercials. They've just got like a little hook and then it's all this like bouncy instrumental in the background. That's kind of the idea. So strip out all the vocals except for the main chorus line.
Yeah. Let's shift gears if you're cool with that, Kristen. Listen to a few songs. How do you feel about that?
Let's do it. I love it.
Let's do it. So first off, this is just like first come, first served. Folks had a chance to pop some songs into to a forum here that we put up. Billy Wright, you're up next, or you're up first. This song's called Feels Like Home. And yeah, just looking for your hot take on this, you know, just in regards to, you know, how it lands in the licensing world. Really appreciate your candor with it, because everybody's just trying to get better at this. So any feedback you have, I think I speak for most people when they're like, they'd like to hear like what you actually think of it. And let me just fire this up for us. The one thing I do like to say with this is the streaming takes out a little bit of the low end, and you'll probably know that. It just kind of like, it compresses the audio, and it seems to sap the low end the most. So just keep that in mind when you're giving it a listen. Okay. Here we go. First song. Oh, weird. Hang on. I just showed my whole desktop. That wasn't what I was trying to do. Let's see. Oh, this is it. Here we go. All right.
Wrap your mind around this. We are a cottage springing up. Life is flourishing all around us. No vacancy for hating, nothing but love is waiting here. Take my hand, there's so much more to discuss. This is so, 'cause this feels like home.
I'm ready for a yogurt commercial. Let's go. Yeah, that's great. I mean, the hook is on. Feels like home. Maybe we're coming home from war. Maybe we're just happy to be with someone. We just found the perfect puppy that we're bringing home. I mean, that's 3 scenes right there. I think that hook is amazing. I love the ooh. I'm not gonna sing for you all, but I think that that again, it's something that's easy to digest. It can fit in a lot of places. We're not really telling anybody where to place this. I think that song is excellent. Love the bells. Bells are great for ads, which is why I went to yogurt commercial. I think this is excellent. I think it's an excellent instrumental and vocal. Great.
Super hooky, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Again, that's, like I said earlier, that is a song that would stick in my head. The ooze, for sure. Great hook.
I just tried opening one. I won't mention who it is, but sometimes people, when they submit a song, they'll submit like a dead link.
Oh no.
Go to the next one. Kelsey Kovar, you're next. Kelsey's an amazing singer. Just to warn you.
No pressure.
Here we go.
For me, but I can pretend in my purple dream. Say you'll never leave, 'cause it never rains in my purple dream. Up in the world where it don't make sense, hide in the clouds and forget your head. Stay in my purple dream. Stay in my purple dream. Lie and then
thoughts on that? Oh, here, let me unmute you. Hang on. There you go.
Okay, I did that. I was trying to be kind. I didn't know if I was making noise
okay.
drinking my water.
Hear it.
And then I got stuck. Awesome. That song is ready for radio, in my opinion. That is, I hear it in like a Euphoria type of a show, if you guys are familiar. Great show, great music. Phenomenal production. Really, I think this could go up against the best. This, if you don't represent it already, I think it needs representation.
Wow. That's great.
Excellent song. Great production. You're My Purple Dream. Yep. I remember what that song's about. I remember the groovy vibe to it. I'm trying to think of like constructive feedback. Really, the last two songs are excellent. I don't have anything. It's good. It's great.
All right. That's probably the feedback that people would most like to hear from you.
Yeah. And listen, I'll tell you if I think there's an opportunity, but excellent. Yeah. Really, both of those
great.
songs.
Well, let's listen to another one. Here we go. This one's called Festival by Alex Purdy.
Great.
Your hips do the talking. You're a festival wherever you're walking. Rip the pavement with your stride. You got it going, we're down for the ride. Your hips do the talking. You're a festival.
Can I hear a little bit more? Sorry.
Absolutely.
Just a few more seconds.
Yeah, you got it.
I feel like it's going somewhere.
All right, let's check it out.
Wherever you're walking, wherever you're walking.
Okay. Cool song. Super cool. This is ad music for sure. We're selling AirPods. Also, you should look up that recent AirPod commercial with I just learnt with a T some jazz today. It's very cool. I love the instrumentation. Awesome instrumental. I think there's an opportunity for a little more, which is what I thought was coming. I'd love a little more because it's so groovy and it's got these awesome horn pieces. I wish there was a little more like, how do I explain it? Separation, like maybe some pieces like with like a stop down, like where it drops to silence and then pulls you back in. Like I'm looking for a little more punch, a big drop. Somebody said, yeah, I'm looking for something that just like, oh yeah, we're back. I'm describing it horribly. I think that song is awesome, period. And there could be an alternate version with a little more stop and go, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense. Especially for ads. Like having clean edit points is super important. Yeah. Awesome. Well,
awesome song.
How about we listen to one more? You down for that?
Let's do it.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much for this. This is Come Home by Teresa Lay. Here we go. Cool. I just wanted to skip forward to get a little bit of the dynamics later on in the song.
Yep. Can I ask a favor?
Sure.
Can I hear the first like 12 seconds again?
Absolutely. This should come through. Let me know if it doesn't come through. Oh.
It's good. It's good. I just wanted to hear it again.
Okay. Hang on. Sorry, disco's kind of weird when you try to. Hang on. I think I got this. All right, I got it.
Okay. Yep. So again, awesome song, really cleanly recorded piano, really beautiful vocals. I think there's two opportunities here. Again, could be an alternate mix. This could just be because I'm listening to it and is streaming over this platform circumstance. I feel like I got a lot of really harsh S's and T's, some really high frequencies, which were kind of hard on my ear, which would cut through dialogue in a scene. So again, it could just be what I'm hearing through our technology right here. If it's not, there could be an opportunity to maybe smooth those out. I also love this song so much. And I want to hear the beginning again because it had such a nice, beautiful build. And with that, I don't know the technical term, but there was like a little extra reverberation right before the song hit. I'd love to see more of that incorporated between the pre-chorus and the chorus. Like, show me where I'm supposed to focus. I feel like we had beginning, middle, end, and they all flowed sort of together. We had some extra percussion towards the end half. I just wish there was more build and then come back down and then build, some emotions built into the production. I felt like once we had that first build, it was just up the whole time, even though it's a really beautiful, slower song. Beautiful song, beautiful words, beautiful production, great lyrics. I just love to hear a little more up and down as far as how full the production is. Does that make sense?
I think so. And perhaps like more pronounced transitions. It sounded like you were talking about.
Exactly. More pronounced. Where's the hook? Where am I really supposed to be paying attention? Where are we drawing in the audience?
Awesome. Thanks for the feedback. I figure, we've listened to a few songs here. Would you be cool to answer a few more questions?
I'm here all night until you kick me out.
We've got some hands up here. Let's get to some more folks here because we got a lot of people who want to talk to you. Lois, you're up next. Lois, are you with us?
Okay, hi. Hi, Kristen. Unfortunately, I missed the first 20 minutes because of an outside phone call, but I'll listen to it later on. What I want to ask you is about the vintage vibe. Now, I mainly write a lot of jazz songs, old school type style, but I've been noticing that a lot of libraries are actually asking for anything sort of 30s to 80s, but actually recorded back in that era rather than wanting new songs with a vintage vibe. Is that always the case, or do they want the artists particularly, or yeah?
Yeah, if the budget allows, a lot of productions will want authentic, for example, 40s jazz or 30s jazz. I think the key in being successful in creating music a la a certain era in modern day is really paying attention to the filters you're using to create that kind of antique-y sound. It's a very fine line between good and tacky. I would invest, if that's really the niche that you want to write for, I would really invest in some high quality filters to recreate that sound. That help?
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually finding during this course I'm writing other music as well. So I'm doing some crossover Christian music and also a bit of hip hoppy stuff. So I'm getting out of my comfort zone a wee bit.
Beautiful. I think an extra way you could market your music, especially the jazzier stuff. You don't necessarily have to call it whatever era, 30s, 40s. There could be opportunities within background in TV shows. For example, I'm just thinking CBS, NCIS, etc., where they have a lot of restaurant scenes, cocktail bars. Maybe there's a piano in the background. So that might be an extra opportunity for you to find sync placements with your 30s and 40s genre music, but it's not necessarily a 30s or 40s scene.
Okay, thank you. That's really helpful.
Oh, good.
I just muted myself. Okay, I'm unmuted now. There we go. All right, thanks for the questions, Lois. Alex, actually, we spun your song earlier.
Yeah.
How's it going, Alex?
Good. Thank you so much for your time, John and Kristen and everyone here. My question is pretty quick. I just wanted to know, recently, what have you been looking for in choosing an artist to represent?
That's a great question. Someone who's willing to learn, somebody who is passionate, and someone who I think really can do it. I have two artists, do it. What does that mean? Someone who can really, someone I believe in. So I have two artists that I just started working with, and they are, it's two white guys, and they do sort of, do you remember that song probably 10 years ago? It was Bruno Mars and Travie McCoy from Gym Class Heroes. It was like, I want to be a billionaire so freaking bad. Yeah. So they had the hip hop element, but it was still this like beachy vibe. That's them. And I feel like even though that type of music had their moment, they just love it so much. They're so good. I've watched them take over a room with their music. So really someone that is passionate, wants to learn, is open to a little bit of coaching, and me saying like, hey, try this lyric instead, or let's do it this way. Yeah.
Sweet. Thank you. And is your, I was using Rocket Reach to try to find your email address, and maybe since it's not a total stranger, is it kristen.summers@belmont.edu? Do you still check that one?
No, that was I don't know. That's actually never been my address, but you can more appropriately find me. I have 9,000 email addresses. You can feel free to reach out to me on Belmont, but I think you'll have a better response. I'm just going to give you all my personal email address. If you ever have questions, please don't hesitate. Happy to help. It's Kristen, KRISTIN .Summers, like the season, at the letter Y, mail.com.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Let's get to one more. How about at least Francisco?
Hey, how you doing? Hey guys, Kristen. It appears that my actual question was already answered, but first and foremost, I just wanted to say this session has been so informative, and I just want to say that I'm so grateful. I'm like laughing and just excited about everything that you're giving, all the information. So I just wanted to say thank you so much.
Oh, that's so
that's
kind.
all I got to say. You've been awesome.
Oh, thank you. You're very welcome.
Sweet.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll have a good one. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, everybody's just loving this. Miss Madeline, how are you doing?
Good. Wait, can you hear me?
Yep.
Do I have to? Oh, hi, everybody. Hello. So I have a couple questions. The first one is, are you going to be at Sync Keepers? You're going to be here next week.
Am I going to be at Sync Keepers? What is that? Sync what?
Sync Keepers. It's Catch the Moon's Sync Conference next Thursday and Friday.
I am not totally familiar, but I think one of my very best friends is speaking at it, Eric Calver. He's the music supervisor from Activision Blizzard Games.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was just talking to him today about this.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to attend, just let me know. You're definitely welcome to attend. Would love it. And possibly we may have all the speakers that we need, but this session has been amazing, and probably might even want to have you on a panel. I'll check in to see if you're available.
What time is it on Thursday?
It's the 6th and the 7th, like 9 to 5 ish, at the Harmony Gold Theater.
let's talk offline and we can coordinate.
Yay! Yay! Okay, so that was question 1. Question number 2 is top themes. If you had 5 themes,
Top
like
themes?
what themes? Like what should we be singing about?
Oh, themes. Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, let me think about that.
I'm going to mute myself because
Okay.
I have a child and television and dog and bird and lots. Okay.
A zoo. You live in a zoo.
I have a menagerie.
Yeah, right. Oh, there's another dog in Lori's screen. Let me think. Top 5 themes. Themes as far as lyrics go, maybe?
Yeah, like home or together or like those kinds of themes, like female empowerment.
Oh, sure. Well, those are great ones. Home is good. Love is good. Happy. Yeah, together is good. If you're thinking again back to the driving rock, like we can do it, or we'll get there. Really positive themes. Yeah, I think that was more than 5. Positive, broad concepts, emotions that everybody and experiences that everybody will have in their lifetime.
It's great. Yeah. I think that's a great answer. Hey,
Okay.
Thank you for the question, Madeline. Let's see. I don't, unless somebody else has a question, maybe one last question. Anybody got a last question? Want to raise their hand? We already got to you, Francisco. I want to give everybody else an opportunity.
I see a finger from Kimberly.
If nobody else, Lisa, here we go. Lisa got a hand up. Got a hand up from Lisa. Lisa's first. Here we go. Hey, Lisa.
Hi. Yes, I am here. Sorry. Hi. I just had a question. I'm still learning, and I'm totally open to criticisms and things that are going to help me make the song better.
Okay.
I just, as an artist, I've been kind of conditioned to sing with vibrato and that kind of thing, and I'm really trying to struggle with cutting that out in the songs because I've been told it's a little bit dated, and I tend to have more of a classic soul kind of sound as well. So I guess my question is, given that, should I kind of stick with more of the R&B kind of realm, or get a different vocalist for my songs? Because I want the song to succeed ultimately. But I think, artist sound versus what the sync world is looking for might be a little bit different in my case.
Lisa, do you feel like you have the capacity to sing a song straight without vibrato?
I think I can do it with some work, but because it's so ingrained in what I do, that it's just a little bit of a mind twist for me to do it. But I do think that I have strength as a vocalist. I think I'm a strong singer.
So here's what I'd recommend on that, and for everybody here. If you want to establish yourself as an artist, you are an artist, you don't care if you get syncs, you don't care what happens, you just want your music heard. That's one avenue. If you want to be in the sync world, like Lisa, it sounds like that's your main focus, I would figure out who you sound like. And if the answer is, I don't sound like anybody, I'm unique, you're on the artist track. And that is great to be unique, absolutely. But when you're in the sync world, I want to know who you sound like. Who can I quickly relate you to? Where can I quickly place you in a scene? So, yeah, please.
Sorry to interrupt. I've been told a lot that I sound a bit on the Adele side or Amy Winehouse side, that kind of vibe. So I've tried to make like more of a retro sound song with like a vintage drum kit, that kind of thing. Try to work for me, but I think, R&B is definitely in my love of genres. So I'm just wondering if maybe I should kind of stick with that, if that's kind of where my voice is at. if I'm trying to make it in the sync world, because, you know, as an artist, I don't know, like, you know, in terms of the visual package and all that, my age, I don't know that that's really like, I still plan to gig and do all the fun stuff I love to do locally, but I don't know if that's really where my mindset is right now. I really want to make the sync thing work.
Okay. Well, one, I think you're gorgeous, and I noticed your hair right when you turned your camera on, so don't discredit yourself there. And two, yes, okay, if sync is really the goal, then I think there are a couple avenues to explore. One is maybe if finding a new vocalist is the right path for you and it's in your budget, that could be something to not necessarily replace you, but maybe just add to your library. If you still want to see yourself as the sole writer and performer and everything on a song, then maybe it's worth working with a vocal coach to have the versatility of using the vibrato as one tool in your arsenal and being able to sing a song straight as another, which might be a little more sync friendly. When I do think of Adele and Amy Winehouse, which is what you're saying your vocal styling is like, I'm not thinking of a lot of vibrato. So maybe, and I'm coming with the suggestion off the top of my head, maybe it's finding some Adele and Amy Winehouse karaoke tracks and just trying to imitate their style.
I do sing a lot of their material.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah, I think if you're getting feedback, listen to it, because someone is hearing something that maybe we're a little too emotionally close to our music to hear ourselves.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Sure. And that doesn't mean you can't do your style too. It's just saying, give yourself the opportunity to do more than just one thing.
Yeah, I've been trying to branch out and try different things. I don't really know what my sound is yet in terms of, you know, having an EP that kind of is my sound, because I love so many genres that it jumps around a lot. Like, I have quite different sounding songs so far. So that's where I'm struggling a little bit, trying to figure out where I should kind of stick my feet down.
And take your time. Enjoy that exploration. One, Beverly's already called reggae country, so that's out for you, unfortunately, Lisa. But two, if you look into Lana Del Rey and her background, she didn't end up in this like creepy, sultry genre her whole career. She really bounced around from genre to genre before she found what stuck for her. So take a look at her story. It might be a little inspirational for you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Sure.
Great questions. Yeah, Tori Amos too. I mean, there's so many cases of people that just kind of pivot. She was like in like a punk metal band or something like that. You know, you never know exactly what your calling is sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you have time for one more?
There's many more.
Wow. Okay. Well, you've been so generous with your time. I don't want to take advantage of that.
Oh, listen, I'm not kidding when I say I'm happy to help.
All right. Well, we all really appreciate it. Daniel, you're up next.
Hi, Kristen. Hi, everybody. How's it going? Thank you again so much. You've been super helpful, and we all really appreciate it.
Oh, good.
One quick question that I have is there any specific niche or genre that you think you have a hard time finding more of? Is there like a void that could be filled that you see in the licensing world that you wish you had more songs of?
Well, really, hip hop is my go-to answer. I'm not sure if you were here for that, but there's something missing as far as driving hip hop that can dictate a scene that is still current, because current hip hop is very dark, very slow, very minimal. That really is kind of the hole that I see right now, and I don't have the answer as to how to fill it or fix it. Outside of hip hop, yeah, here's another one. This is really obscure. I would love someone or some company to start making interesting Christmas music that is not ballad. It is not the first Noel. It's happy and bouncy, and Madeline likes this idea. But yeah, there's a big hole for good Christmas music, good modern poppy, happy Christmas music. Oh, people like that. Yeah, that's another one. I would say hip hop is number one though.
Awesome. Thank you. That's so helpful. The hip hop, I could see, were you saying like hip hop with something like more driving, like I come from kind of like a punk rock background originally.
Cool.
So I could see like maybe some kind of mashup of something like that, like something more fast tempo, like, and then maybe with like rock, hip hop, like mashup or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
For sure.
Thank you so much. That's been super helpful.
Oh, good. I was just going to add, those rock crossover genres are really good for sports.
Oh yeah, definitely. I could see that for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Sure thing.
Thanks so much. Thank you everybody for all the awesome questions. And thank you so much, Kristen, for spending some time with us tonight. And hopefully, let's definitely connect after this. If you want to stop by Sync Keepers, it'd be awesome to have you there.
Yeah.
Possibly even as a panelist. Yeah.
Why not? I'm in town.
All right.
It's up to you. We'll talk more, John.
Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks so much. Everybody have an awesome evening, and I'll catch you next time.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.